Yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers, I'm Jan, and today I'm explaining everything you need to know about Happy Death Day to you, including hidden details you missed in that post-credits scene, what the ending really means, the final babyface reveal, and how the finale sets up the third movie in the franchise. Okay, let's get into it. Now, the timeline for this movie is pretty complicated, and there's a bunch of subplots we need to break down to completely understand what's going on with the multiple dimensions and doppelgangers that show up. The sequel kicks off with Carter's roommate Ryan stuck in a time loop as he relives the same day after getting murdered by a masked babyface killer. What we soon discover though is that Ryan and a couple of his fellow science students have been working on a machine that's supposed to slow down time on a molecular level. The Sisyphus Quantum Cooling Reactor, or SISI as it's known for short, actually kicked off the time loop in the original movie when the machine started up unexpectedly a minute after midnight on the 18th. That's the day that Tree's time loop began in the first movie, and something we also discover is that whenever the machine is turned on, it causes brief power outages, which means it caused the blackouts we saw in the first film. Tree, Ryan and Carter resolve to close the time loop. However, there's the immediate problem of the babyface killer stalking Ryan on campus. When Babyface tries to kill Ryan for a second time, he gets knocked out by Tree, and when she reveals who's under the mask, they discover it's actually another version of Ryan. When he wakes up, Ryan's double explains that he was trying to close the loop, but somehow he got knocked into a parallel timeline. He also warns them that they're all in serious danger and that the longer they all exist in the same dimension, the worse things will get. Ryan's doppelganger says that the butterfly effect is at work and that the solution is to kill the Ryan we know from this world, otherwise he'll create even bigger problems. Ryan number 1 gets freaked out when he realizes his doppelganger is deadly serious about killing him, so he ignores everyone and tries to turn Sissy back on to fix the problem. As the machine powers up, it generates a huge pulse and shockwave that sends everyone flying. The scene cuts to Tree waking up again in Carter's dorm room, and she discovers it's the 18th again and she's stuck in a new time loop. But this time Tree has been sent to an alternate dimension. Let's call it Earth 2. But although it's a different world, there's still a babyface killer at large on the university campus, and Tree dies for the first time in the sequel when she accidentally runs off the hospital roof fleeing the masked murderer. When Tree wakes up again to find it's the 18th, she realizes a new time loop is in effect, and she starts working with Ryan's team to figure out how to close it. Tree needs to go through the time loop each day and memorize the different algorithms that Ryan's crew are testing to fix Sissy, and that's when we get the amusing montage of Tree deciding how she should die each day, rather than die at the hands of Babyface. After more loops, Tree and Ryan's team figure out the algorithm they need to get Sissy working again, and Tree also decides she wants to go back to her own world. More on why she made that decision later. But before she leaves, Tree realizes she still wants to deal with Earth 2's Babyface, so she goes to the hospital where, although she manages to stop Toombs from murdering Laurie, Babyface then shows up to reveal himself as Dr. Gregory. Gregory had been setting Toombs free so that Laurie's murder would cover up his affair with her. Fun fact, this reveal of Gregory as Babyface is a reference to the original script of the first Happy Death Day movie, where Gregory and Laurie were both working as the original Babyface killers who were trying to kill Tree. Back in the sequel, we discover that Gregory's wife Stephanie is also in on the murderous plan, which was hinted at earlier when she was having an argument about a sorority girl with her husband. Stephanie shoots Laurie, but there's another twist as Gregory turns the gun on his wife, shoots her, and quips he wanted a divorce. Gregory and Tree end up in an MRI examination room where Tree turns the tables on the wicked doctor when she switches on the machine's magnet, and a metal wheelchair flies towards it, pinning Gregory to the scanner. Then Tree releases the screwdriver she's holding, which the magnet yanks towards the doctor, stabbing him dead in the chest. Making Gregory's wife a villain in the sequel is also a neat little Easter egg to the alternate ending for Happy Death Day 1. In this deleted ending for the first movie, which wasn't used as it tested terribly during test screenings, the final scene has Tree at the hospital again, recovering from her injuries. But then Stephanie turns up and she murders Tree in revenge for the affair she was having with Gregory. As for Laurie's role in the sequel, well, this time around she survives to the end of the movie thanks to Tree saving her, which is a nice inversion of the end of the first film where Tree killed Laurie after she discovered Laurie was the one trying to kill her. Now that Babyface has been dealt with, it's time for Tree to be sent back to her own world, but as Sissy powers back up, Tree shares a final kiss with Carter from Earth 2, proving perhaps that even between dimensions these two have a real connection. Although Carter was in a relationship with Danielle on Earth 2, the way he acts around Tree reveals his true feelings for her. So Tree is back in her world and the credits roll, but we also get a bonus credits scene that sets up the next movie. As punishment for continuing to run Sissy in defiance of the Dean's commands, Tree, Carter, Ryan, Dre and Samar have been ordered to clean up litter on the university campus. A team of government agents then roll up out of the blue, led by a Dr. Isaac Parker, who asks them to come with him and answer some questions. They're taken to a DARPA facility, which for anyone who doesn't know is a real-life US defense agency. DARPA has taken possession of Sissy, but they can't figure out how to work the machine. Ryan explains that there are many algorithms and they need the right one to make it work, and Tree points out that she can help them with that. Remember, she did go through all those time loops when she was on Earth 2 and memorized the various algorithms until Ryan got Sissy working in that dimension again. Dr. Parker then says they'll need a test subject, and Tree wickedly says she thinks she has the perfect recruit. The screen cuts to a shot of Danielle waking up in bed screaming, a clear indication that Danielle is going to be sent into a new time loop in the next movie. Both the Danielles we've met on Earth 1 and 2 are pretty terrible people. Earth 1 Danielle is rude, offensive, and only really cares about her status as sorority queen bee.
Who's gonna pledge Kappa now that we have a death curse? We're in crisis mode, Tree. Ew. Who are these people? Call me as soon as you're done with your creepy little Comic-Con meeting.
Earth 2 Danielle was slightly nicer and less offensive, but more of a fake and still very pretentious and self-absorbed, and was possibly going out with Carter so that he helped her pass one of her courses. Plus, of course, Tree discovered her cheating on Carter with Nick. Also in this credits scene is a sneaky little detail about Samar, which opens up another plot point to explore in Happy Death Day 3. While he's picking up litter in the credits scene, he finds an old discarded churro on the floor and says, "Who throws away a perfectly good churro?" He then proceeds to eat it, which is out of character with the Samar we met at the beginning of the movie. In the scene where he brought Ryan a churro from the cafeteria, Samar accidentally dropped it on the floor and then made a big point about how the churro had gone to waste now because it was covered in bacteria. So why is Samar more than happy now in the credits scene to eat a churro that's been on the floor for at least a day, probably? The answer is that I think this isn't our original Samar. It's a different version of him from another dimension. When Tree was sent back to Earth 1 from Earth 2, it's possible that the original Samar on Earth 1 was replaced by Samar from Earth 2. Earth 2 Samar wouldn't necessarily have noticed any difference yet, as just like on Earth 2, his surroundings and the other people would be similar. Another possibility is that when Tree was sent back to Earth 1, it caused some other ripple effect in one of the other dimensions of the multiverse, sending over a different Samar doppelganger to Earth 1. Remember that when Ryan from Earth 2 is explaining to Tree about the multiverse, he says that the Earth 2 version of Tree must have been knocked into another parallel dimension somewhere in the multiverse, and that in theory the universe has 6 dimensions. So this stale churro-munching version of Samar could have been knocked out of another dimension and into Tree's world. This leads me back to Ryan's doppelganger, who we met right at the beginning of the movie and whose reasons for ending up on Earth 1 haven't been fully explained yet in the franchise. We do get a little clue as to what's going on here though. It's just a little comment that's made when Earth 2's Sissy is being fired up for the first time. Carter's concerned about the amount of noise the machine's making, and they tell him not to worry as the machine won't blow up again. Now that's a crucial little detail that the movie doesn't linger on, and the exact timing of when Sissy previously blew up isn't totally clear, but it seems like the Sissy machine on Earth 2 had a major meltdown at some point before or around the moment when Sissy went wrong on Earth 1, which was at 1 minute past midnight on the 18th. Did that Sissy event on Earth 2 trigger a fault in the multiverse that sent a version of Ryan from another dimension over to Earth 1 by accident? Ryan's doppelganger at the beginning of this movie kept saying he was trying to close the loop and that he needs to kill Ryan from Earth 1 to stop him turning on the machine and creating more problems. So did Ryan 1's machine trigger problems like a butterfly effect in the rest of the multiverse, including Earth 2, or did Earth 2's machine fail first? There's clearly some event that's happened that hopefully the Happy Death Day filmmakers plan to address in the next movie. Some other unanswered questions about Ryan include what was that distortion that Ryan 1 hears on his phone each time he's in the time loop? And where was the call coming from? And what made Earth 1's Sissy turn itself on around midnight at a time when the lab was locked? Did the Sissy explosion that happened on Earth 2 ripple out into the other dimensions, or is there another Sissy in another dimension going wrong and kicking off a chain of events in the multiverse? Whatever the answers are, it looks like Happy Death Day 3 will entangle us even further in a wider web of parallel dimensions and alternate timelines, and I'd love to hear any of your thoughts or theories you've got in the comments below. Although Happy Death Day to You is more complicated than the original movie, I like the way that the universe has expanded without the sequel playing like a repeat of the first one. You might be a little disappointed if you're looking for more of the horror elements in the first film, but the real star of Happy Death Day has always been Jessica Roth's performance as Tree, and the sequel gives her an opportunity to show there's still room for the original Mean Girl to grow as a character. Although Tree really wants to live what she thinks is a better version of her life where her mum's alive, she eventually comes to realise that she needs to embrace the real version of herself, even if that includes the pain that comes with it. Writer-director Christopher Landon has said that the lesson and theme of the movie is that even if there are things in your life that you regret or things that have hurt you, it's still your life. You have to take ownership of it, and so you can't live in a fantasy version of your life because it's not you. On top of that, when Tree sees on the local news that Carter, Laurie and the police officer have been killed at the hospital, she refuses to be the final girl and resets her own day in order to save her friends, proving that she's a worthy heroine. Now I'd love to know what you think of the sequel. Tap in the top right to vote and leave any comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up and share are hugely appreciated. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers!